Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the last 2 weeks of October. I hope you're well. I'm using the Lost Forest Tarot for you today. Here it is. Do I have anything to tell you? No, I don't think I do. If you haven't seen these videos before, I keep them slightly shorter than the main monthly readings, and we're coming at things from a slightly different angle in so much as we are looking for the lesson. I believe that there is a lesson or wisdom contained in every interaction or experience that we have. And sometimes we lose sight of that when we get bogged down with the day-to-day minutiae of life, you know. And so as an exercise in perspective, I feel like it can be often very, very helpful to draw back and see what is trying to be shown to you here. It can help you navigate challenging energy, and we're all having a bit of that at the moment, aren't we? So that's the idea. And to that end, what I'll do is I'll pull 3 cards for your current energy. We'll see where you are right now. And then we'll pull 3 cards to see why you are there in the first place. From there, we will pull 3 cards of advice and see if we can't help you navigate through this a little more easily. I hope that that makes sense. I will try not to pull any clarifiers to help keep this short. But, you know, I break my own rules all the time. So, you know, just go with it. So, let's have a look. 3 cards for Aries, please. Ooh. We have the 9 of Cups in reverse. We have the 8 of Wands in reverse. And we have the 8 of Cups. That's interesting. So from the outset, we can see we've got some sort of completion happening here for you, or certainly moving towards completion. Try and not shut the window, but if it gets any louder then I will. Interestingly enough, we have the 6 of Swords at the bottom of the deck, followed by the 6 of Cups, fucking hell, and the 8 of Swords. Right, so there are 8s aplenty and 6s aplenty. I have to tell you, when I sat and did the meditation before I started your reading, first off, it was very, very difficult to get rid of Pisces. Like, Pisces kept trying to come in there, and I was like, no, Aries, come out of the way. So you may be dealing with a Pisces. There may be a Pisces person around you who is forming part of this. But the other thing that I heard was decisions. There are decisions to be made here, and that would certainly be borne out by the cards that we've got on the table right here at the moment, because, like I said, we're moving towards a completion of something, and there is movement altogether being flagged up here. I mean, the 8 of Cups and the 6 of Swords, very similar messages, although not identical. The 6 of Cups is all about the past. It can be your childhood, and it can be, you know, a younger version of you. It could be children too. I don't feel like that's the case here. But there's some aspect of your past that is moving now naturally towards a state of completion, and it's asking you to leave it behind. Because for you, the past represents being stuck in some way or another, right? Or at least the perception of being stuck, which is what the 8 of Swords is about here. You know, some part of you perhaps is stuck in the past, and it's time to move on. It's time to move away from this. Because we have this 9 of Cups in reverse, and we have this 8 of Wands in reverse. Now, in the upright, the 9 of Cups talks all about, for me, it's about the personal responsibility that we take for our own emotional well-being, right? It's a good card. It's sometimes called the Wish card. When I say taking personal responsibility for our own emotional state, it is knowing that that is the case. You're not outsourcing this to anyone else. So not being like, certainly not looking to blame anyone for the state that we are in at the moment. Not holding anybody else responsible for the fact that we are unhappy or we are happy, or, you know, whatever. And it works both ways there. But it is a card of bringing everything back to you, right? All the emotional energy back to you, and understanding that everything that can make you happy sits within you and you alone, right? So we're talking about perspective. We're talking about, you know, taking ownership of all of those things for you. came out in the reverse, which doesn't mean necessarily that you are dreadfully unhappy, but it can certainly point towards some aspect of you where the emotional energy is leaking somewhere. And you know, just the fact that we've had these two cards here, okay? There is emotional energy leaking out somewhere. And this next 2-week period, some of which will be in Mercury retrograde proper, but all of it will be, you know, within the shadow period of Mercury retrograde. It certainly seems to be a time to sit back and reflect and see where this emotional leak is, right? Where is it going? It has its roots in the past somewhere, but that may just be that where you are right now is in a cycle that is repeating something from your past, you know? It's time to sit with it and pull it all back to you and analyze it, interrogate it almost, if that be what you need to do. And we have the Eight of Wands. It talks about action, it talks about momentum, it can talk about communication, passionate communication, fast moving communication, but it's in the reverse here, you know. And so I'm inclined to think that if there is somebody that you are waiting to have a conversation with, this is possibly the wrong way around to be approaching where you are at the moment, because so the only person who can bring closure to any particular given situation is you. And if you sit there, well, I just need an apology, or I just need to talk to this person, or I just need to end things properly, what you're doing is kind of pushing that closure down the road, and you are making it contingent upon the actions of somebody else. And that's not how closure comes, you know. You might get that conversation and it won't give you what you thought you needed, because ultimately you are the one who has to give yourself permission to move on. And that feels like what this entire reading is about for you. It's not coming. If it is coming, it's not going to give you what you need. It's sort of a go back to the drawing board, go back to basics and have a look and see what is going on in your life. Where are the leaks? Where are the things? And not relying on other people to plug them for you, you know? Because we have the Eight of Cups here. This is a card of moving on, just as the Six of Swords is. But where this is a sort of intellectual moving on, you know, it's taking the experience, the lessons of the experience, and then moving away to a safe distance from it. The Eight of Cups is about leaving the emotions aside from it. Now, like I said, this has its roots in the past somewhere, but it's playing out in the present for you. It is a cycle for you to identify and then move past, break through, you know, because we all know it's possible to walk away from a situation that is no good for you, but it's also possible to take all of the emotions that situation engendered within you and carry them around with you. You know, the ways in which we kick ourselves. You know, everybody's had that moment where they're just going off to sleep and their brain goes, oh, hey, do you remember that really shit thing that you did, you know, fucking 25 years ago? That complete social faux pas you made. And then you sit there and you just burn with it, with the embarrassment of it, you know, bring it back up. That's just one example, but there are many examples in which this sort of energy plays out. And not least the way that we react to situations that are in front of us. So, you know, often, what was it I heard was your subconscious mind works 4 times faster than your conscious mind, and in some instances up to 20 times faster, and that's absolutely extraordinary. But by the time we've consciously registered something, we are already reacting to it. And what information does your brain have to decide, you know, subconsciously, what is the next move forwards? Well, it's everything that you've experienced in the past. So coming to this point where you can kind of stop yourself from reacting and have a look at what's going on, work out whether you're reacting to the thing that in front of you. Are you perpetuating something that you have, you know, experienced in the past by reacting to a memory of it rather than what's here in front of you? You know, this year's been really hard for you, Aries, in a lot of ways. That it's been filled with all sorts of things that fire signs hate, like stagnation and lack of movement and things like that. But at the beginning of this month, we had like 7 planets in retrograde. Sometimes we have to stand still, and sometimes we have to walk back a few steps just to make sure that we took the right turn, and that's the kind of energy that I'm feeling here. It's all about allowing what is trying to exit, and there is something trying to exit here for you, Aries. Allowing it to go and making sure that you're there bidding it goodbye, rather than kind of blocking its exit and going no, by way of repeating patterns and stuff like that. It's not a comfortable energy, and I'm not going to pretend that it is. But with so many cards that indicate movement, specifically movement away from the past and movement towards this sense of completion, it's almost like this part of your life needs to be tidied up and let go of properly before you can move on to what is next for you. And there will be something next for you, and it's just like filling a room full of things. Eventually you're going to come to a point where there just isn't any space for new things to come in. And some of that stuff that's stashed at the back of the room isn't really part of your life anymore. And why are you allowing it to take up the space? You want new things to come in. You've got to let go of some of the old things, Let's have a look and see why you are in this energy. I mean, I feel like I've explained it, but why Aries is in this energy right now, please. We have the 9 of Wands, of course. We have the World card, perfect. Whoa, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's exactly as I said, but it's put it in such a forthright way, I can't really ignore it. I just want to point out that the Empress card fell out to the right. Now I don't take these cards, I'm showing it to you because I feel like this is a sniff of what is to come. And the Empress is all about abundance, it's all about gratitude for what you have, that is there and that is good for you. Because I feel like you've been spread so thin this year, Aries. It's almost like you haven't been able to really appreciate the things that you do have that are so good for you, the blessings in your life, Energetic leak. As you close up those leaks, that which is beautiful and blessed within your life becomes more obvious. You can really appreciate it, like clearing out a room, It's full of beautiful things, but they're all in boxes and all, kind of ramshackle and stacked and whatnot. You can't really see those. You clear out that room, make some space to display the things that are beautiful in there, and you can then appreciate them. We've got the Lovers card at the bottom of the deck, and do you recall, and I said right at the beginning that, oh shit, okay, well that happened for a reason, because underneath that we also have the 2 of Wands. Decision making was important in this 2-week period. Not, whether you're going to do your shopping at Aldi or Morrison's, right? It's not about the thing that you pick, it's about standing up and going, do you know what, now I am going to stop making decisions about my life. I felt like Aries felt very disempowered this year and very fucking tired, and I can empathise with that greatly. But choosing to be grateful for the abundance, choosing to send out that energy into the universe and say, yes, I like this, could I have more of this, please? The energetic leaks that are spreading you so thin need to be plugged up, right? Because you've got decisions to make. Now, it could be that you're coming to a crossroads at some point fairly soon, and you will need to make an active decision about things. But, the 2 of Wands is still quite that internal state of where is my heart pulling me? What direction is my heart pulling me in? Where is the passion? Where is the creativity? Those are the things that I want, So sit at a crossroads. Well, you could sit there indefinitely. You could make a rash decision and just hair off in one way on the flick of a coin. Or you could follow this. You could follow where this is taking you. And that takes sometimes a bit of time to just sit and consider. Like I said, remember, retrograde energy is still very much at play. Like, the movement for you is emotional and mental, right? And the mental will catch up with the emotional if you allow it to happen. Because what the Two of Wands does not indicate is a route down this path that you have picked just now, right? It's still very much in here and here. But decisions. Now, why you are in this energy, we have the Nine of Wands, we have the World, and we have the Ace of Swords. And again, I cannot help but feel those big lessons that we learn, they're often delivered in unpleasant and sometimes something approaching cruel ways. And I don't know why that should be the case, apart from the fact that humans are pretty pain avoidant, and if there's a way of staying in our comfort zones, generally we would prefer to do that. Well, why would you want to move out of your comfort zone, right? It's comfortable. We only really move when we are made so uncomfortable that we cannot stay where we are. And it feels like 2021 has been like that for you in one way or another. And we have this Nine of Wands indicating, as it does, again, getting closer to a sense of completion, but breeding a kind of resilience within you, right? And what is that resilience? Well, it's, you know, it's the ability to endure. And my God, you've been doing a lot of that recently. But I see all of the 9 cards as very personal. They're all about the individual. So it's where you draw boundaries, not just with other people, but also with yourself. You know, it's where you allow yourself that space to contemplate what it is to be you. What are the lessons? What are the good things? You know, or that, and what are the mistakes that you've made that you can learn from? Right? I don't think there's anything to be afraid of in making mistakes. I think that is how we learn the truly important lessons. But it's breeding in you the resilience to move towards completion, move towards the end. I mean, there it is. Like, the whole reading for me has been about decisions and this sense of completion that is coming, right? That is why you are here. Now, the major arcana, I've got quite often the energies that happen at you, the things that are thrown into your life, whether Deus Ex Machina or you saw them coming, like, it doesn't really matter. The minor arcana cards are about the actions that you take in the day-to-day, right? How you navigate this energy as it presents to you. And this here, this Nine of Wands, this energy that you are in here, as frustrating as it has been, as exhausting as it has been, you've survived it. You are actively surviving it now, and you are so close to completion. You know, it's just one last push, Aries. Just keep going, because you've got an ace, right? Whenever you have a card that indicates completion, what we like to see is either the Fool, which is your card, or an ace coming after it. Now, interestingly enough, it's an Ace of Swords, which is a very, very powerful card, but again, it's about what you do in the day-to-day. You didn't get the Fool. It's not like everything's going to magically end and then this beautiful new start is going to come for you. There's a huge cycle completing for you at the moment, and from that you get the Ace of Swords. You get this change in perception that is coming for you, that you will then take forwards, right? So whether it is that you've had some, you know, really deep insight about the patterns that you have been repeating, or, you know, the things that you're doing, perhaps the ways that you've projected, perhaps the ways that you are internalizing other people's projections from you, you know, perhaps you've been exploring the nature of what it is to feel empowered, right? Because it's one of those things that we sort of take for granted as fire signs until it is gone. And then we are lost and we're just like, what the fuck? You know, like, I'm not used to not feeling powerful. Or maybe I'm too used to not feeling powerful. And maybe the rage and the pain sometimes of that state comes out and affects the world around us. It affects the relationships around us, you know. There's a huge feeling of making peace with something here, Aries. Something with its roots in the past, but something that is stopping you moving forwards. You know, the Ace of Swords, the sword suit is all about, you know, the mind. It's cerebral, sometimes communication too, you know. And so when the Ace comes along, just as the Page of Swords has the same sort of feel to me, it's about that new insight coming and it changing the way that you think. Up here. Changing the way that you see yourself, the way that you see the world, the way that you view decisions that you need to make. You know, whatever it is. But of all of the cards on the table, the only major arcana is the World. Something is completing. Energetically, it is completing, and it's asking you to come along with it. Right? Don't resist anymore if that is what you have been doing. Because the energies as they are presenting are supporting you making some really big decisions over the next few weeks. And like I said, not necessarily am I going to stay, am I going to go, am I going to do my shopping at Morrison's tonight or Asda, or am I going to have Indian for dinner, or am I going to have, you know, I don't know, Lebanese. Personal favourite of mine recently. It's about knowing that you have the power, even when you are feeling disempowered, to make the changes that you need to move forwards and thrive, you know? Let's get you some cards of advice. Some cards of advice for Aries, please. Wow. Fucking hell. Wow. Yeah. We've got the Page of Cups at the bottom of the deck. You know, that is that first rung on the ladder of the court hierarchy there. It is about a new way of doing something, a new direction in some way or another. And for you, it is a new emotional direction here. I think it's asking you to go deep. You know, perhaps it is that there is some shadow work that it is necessary for you to do. And you know, I've got the Six of Cups here. This past keeps coming up to look at you, you know, and it could be that you have looked at this over and over and over again, and it's a bit like hitting your head against a brick wall, except that the energies are supporting you to do it. Have a look at what is holding you back. Have a look at what is being repeated from the past, because it's time to let it go. You know, we've got this King of Cups here. It's all about emotional maturity. It's about emotional stability. And so where there is anything in your life that makes you feel emotionally unstable, well, first we should treat that as an energetic leak, because, you know, that's not cool. But it's about the process of you stabilizing yourself at this point. And Aries, it's going to take going deep, right? There's not really any way around this. I mean, look at all the water cards that we've got here, but you know, even just vision of the little seal headed down into the depths. There are answers for you here to find, for sure. And there are completions. Now, it might be that you don't enjoy what you find. It could be that you don't like what you find, and honestly, that's kind of the nature of shadow work. But it's something that pushes you towards completion, right? From there, as the tens indicate completion in the minor arcana, it doesn't just stop. It doesn't just end. You know, there are cycles within cycles within cycles of everything. From the Ten of Swords, you start a new journey with an Ace of Swords there. It's like, be prepared for the revelations that come up to kind of knock you sideways a little bit. But it's like breaking something open for you, Aries. You know, really finding that weak link in the armoured thing that is your shadow, and pulling it apart and going, wow, there's so much stuff in here. You know, approaching it with a view to making yourself more emotionally stable, because those things are not leaking anymore, right? You can see exactly what they are and you can clean it up and you can go, right, you can go on your way now. I know you're there, but I've no need for you anymore. You know, 6-month overviews that I did for each of the signs had a real significant emphasis on personal work in this last part of the year, but you know, particularly the last 3 months of the year. And you know what I would say to you, Aries, is if it makes you uncomfortable, then good. You're on the right path. This is the right way to go. Because there's a rebirth getting ready to occur here. And you just got to push a little bit more. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm really sorry it wasn't something more optimistic. Well, no, it is. That's the point. It is optimistic because the end is in sight. At this point, you're probably, you know, been going up this for so long, you're kind of looking at your feet now. You stop looking at the horizon, but the light is starting to rise there and you are headed towards it. So, sorry, it's not like a yay Ace of Pentacles, yay Ace of, you know, Cups and wonderful things, but you know, you do have the World, you do have the Ace of Swords. I think it's a really powerful time for you, Aries, if you choose to allow it to take you where you need to go, the energy that is, right? So you are strong. Just because you don't feel strong right now, it doesn't change the fact of your strength, you know? And I think that November will probably be better, much, much better than October, right? I am actually going to leave it there, right? Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.